Welcome to Advanced Construction Videos, where we show you how to tackle rocketry building techniques and more. On our website, we sell kits, motors, building supplies, and electronics. So come and learn, shop, build, and fly when you visit us at apogeerockets.com.
Our next step is to attach the launch lug to the fin unit if you're flying this as a model rocket. If you're just for display, you can go ahead and leave this off. When doing this, we need to trim this down because it has to fit on that white flat part of the tube. So I'm going to measure here with my pencil and just mark it. And we're going to cut this with a razor saw because we already have the spruce stick attached to it. So I'm going to just draw the razor saw back to cut through. Okay, and then we need to clean up that end. And for that, I'm using 220 grit sandpaper. Okay, and on the inside, I have a little burr right there. So I'm just taking a little round file, just kind of flattening it out. I love these little needle files. If you don't have a set, you should go to Amazon and just buy a set. They come in really handy. Okay, so now our next step is to position it on the rocket. And it doesn't matter between which fin it goes because this is purely symmetrical at this point. Once we get the launch lug on, then it's going to really matter. We had previously drew a line on here, but the line might not be in the right position because, particularly if you've done the canted fins like I have, because we tweaked the orientation of this transition on the front, we want the lug right in between, right at the base of the scallop. So mine is just slightly off to one side. So when I glue it on, I need to make sure that it's glued on so that it's right in line with the scallop right here. See, mine is just a little bit off to the side. So what I want to do is I want to glue it right there like that. And for that, I'm going to use wood glue. And I put way too much glue on, so I'm going to take most of that off. Okay, just like that, and we'll let that dry. But be sure, before you put it on, make sure that you've got your fins attached and then filled if there's any gaps between them, because now it's a little harder to get into here. Unfortunately, that one is filled good, but I got one over here somewhere where I can get my fingernail underneath, so that means I need to get in there, and I'm going to use the fix-it epoxy, like I said in the last video, to fill any gaps. So at this point, this is what you would do, is to start filling gaps. But I wanted to make you aware of one other thing here, and that is when you mask this off, you're going to have to mask over the top of that launch lug so that it lines up with the launch lug here on the front of the rocket. Now, if I had been smart when I designed this, I would have moved the launch lug over 1/4 turn on the front so that it would have been right in the middle here. And by doing that, I wouldn't have to mask this off. Since I'm lazy, I don't want to put extra mask, because that's hard to mask off over a round corner down into, like, there's little crevices down in there. That's going to be really hard to mask off. So I would suggest, if you haven't painted your front part yet, to go ahead and remove the launch lug here and move it over 1/4 turn so that we can get it into the white. So now the launch lug is always in line with one of the camera targets down here. So count over 2 camera targets. And so it would be, so here's my camera target right here. I'll mark it so you can kind of see it better. And then it would be straight up from there. So I'm going to remove this launch lug here and move it over here. If you already have it painted, don't do it. It's not worth it. Then you'll just have to spend the time to actually mask off that launch lug on the bottom. But since I haven't painted my S4B stage yet, I can still make some changes. And so I'm going to pause here and reposition the camera so you can see this a little bit better, so you can see how I'm going to remove this launch lug. So removing the launch lug is going to cause some damage to the tube. We're probably going to lose that upper layer of paper. So just be prepared for that. I want to start the removal process by slicing underneath the spruce strip. And I'm going to make several passes on both sides. Okay, so I got it off. You can see it pulled up a little bit of paper. So if you feel it on your hand, you can feel a little bit of paper. And I can also see right here, I got a little bit of yellow, so that means that's glue. So the glue is raised, and where the paper has been removed, it's a little divot. So I need to sand the glue off, and I got some 220 grit sandpaper. And lightly sand that off. And for that divot there, I'm going to use some of the carpenter's wood filler, and I'm just looking for my little jar, and I'm not seeing it on the floor, so I'll go ahead and do that later. The bottom of the spruce strip, I need to get that nice and flat again, so I'm going to sand off the bottom. And the little piece of paper came off, which is good. Alright, so that's been removed. And then what I said, I want to move it 1/4 turn around, so this is where it used to be in line with this camera target. And I want to move it 2 camera targets over, and I've already marked it with my pencil. And I want to find that stringer, and I'm going to turn it black here so I know exactly where it is. So that is where I want to put the launch lug, and I'm going to draw a new line right there. And I want to make sure that my angle is in line with the stringer. I'm going to draw it up, and I'll just re-glue it into this new location. Before we said we needed about a 1/2 inch up just to make it easier to mask, and I'll do the same thing here on this one. So I'm just going to eyeball it right about there. The actual location is not critical, so have the launch lug in the location you want. Just let the glue dry. And I'm just going to fill this little divot here with some the carpenter's wood filler. That will dry fast, it sands easily. And then this part is ready for priming. And if there's any blemishes left, the primer will take care of that, like we did with the seams right here. Okay, so this is now ready for the next step.